Baller Nation, it's your boys, the Shotcallers, back with another podcast episode. The date is October 8th, 2019, and as always, we're back to talk basketball. On my left, I got my boy Richard Gunhawk Bustos.
Dang, that's a good one.
And on my right, I got Andre Hollywood West.
Yeah, Hollywood.
Yeah, doing it big, bro. You know how we do it over here in Dallas. But
Hollywood, Dallas.
Hollywood, Dallas.
No,
You ain't heard about Hollywood, Dallas? We're back talking basketball, guys. Glad to be with y'all once again. Seems like every day is just inching closer and closer to the beginning of the season. We're ready to talk some hoops, but before we do that, let's talk some social media, Rich.
Yeah, we have our tried and true social media avenues. We've got Twitter, that's going to be following us at Shotcallers Show. We have us on Instagram, that's _Shotcallers on Instagram. Please hit us up in any DMs, link us to any news that you want us to cover on the show, any questions. We love when you guys slide into the DMs, we'll reply it quickly.
Stay in the mentions, man.
Yeah,
live in there, man.
For real. We love when y'all tag us. That way we can keep on top of the things that y'all are interested in. Please send us an email. That's shotcallershow@gmail.com. Shotcallershow@gmail.com. These should all be splashing across the page right now. And then
we've got our Apple Podcast reviews. Wherever you're listening to us, really, go ahead and drop a review, 5 stars if you think we deserve it. We love hearing what you guys think. We take all kinds of criticism. And then, of course, if you're watching us on YouTube, drop a comment in the comment section below with any questions you might have. Like, share, subscribe. Takes 2 seconds. We really appreciate it. I think that's it, right?
Yep, if you're already watching, just hit the button.
That's what you're doing.
You're here. You're already here.
You need one of those little boxes on the video in the corner with a little subscribe button.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. We can do that for sure. But we're going to move on to our first
major segment of the show, which is going to be our season previews. So
yes.
we're only a couple weeks out, so we're going to cover half the teams this week, half the teams next week, in kind of a unique fashion. We're not going to keep you guys here for 10 years going over every single player. We're gonna hit the impact stuff.
Yeah, we're gonna hit some of these guys that you may or may not have heard of that we think will have an impact on that team's particular season. So bear with us if you haven't heard them. And if you haven't,
we'll give you something to look for.
Exactly. I was gonna say, you can talk to your friends about this. Sound like smart guy in the room.
Yeah. So after the break, we'll get started.
And we're back.
All right. You ready?
Welcome back, Baller Nation. We're gonna do this week's episode a little differently. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna cover all 30 teams, half this week, half next week. So that's 5 apiece. We're going to give you a little breakdown on each team, some impact players that we think are going to make a difference this coming season. Just something you can look forward to, and you can have, in your water cooler talk, sound like the smartest guy in the room. So we're going to kick it off with Richard. Rich, what is your first team on deck?
So I'm starting with the championship defending Toronto Raptors. This may not seem super, super deep cut, but, man, watching the preseason, I just got enraptured by Pascal Siakam. I loved him a lot last year. He's like a bull in a china shop. He gets the ball at the 3-point line, kind of gets around his guy using those long strides, looking a little bit like a poor man's like Giannis or a poor man's like kind of Kawhi with those set shots. But like just watching him, he's so strong. Like he goes up towards just in this preseason alone against the Rockets, he went up with a contest towards PJ Tucker, got thrown off balance, and then still rocketed a pass out of the 3-point line with speed, like a pass that you would see from LeBron James.
Yeah.
So I think like seeing what he's been working on this season with his passing, being able to be more under control, even when he's making crazy kind of athletic moves, is going to be really huge. So while like the Raptors very well could make a deep postseason run, even if they don't, I think it's going to be a really big stepping stone year for Pascal Siakam. He's looking for the max extension. They're negotiating it with him with the Raptors and Masai Ujiri. So, 1, I think he's going to get it. 2, I think he's going to make a big leap forward. And not only is he going to be developing himself, I think he'll be able to really facilitate for other players, kind of like Kyle Lowry. As the future holds, we don't know if Kyle Lowry is going to be around forever. So, that's who I'm going to be watching for the most. Because while everything else is in flux about that team, if it's, Marc Gasol sticking around, Kyle Lowry sticking around, what have you, Norman Powell, is he going to move on to another place? OG Anunoby is going to stick around, and so is Pascal Siakam. He's the future. So that's what I'm looking for this season and beyond.
Right. Yeah, I think when we think about this generation, the top 5 players, AD and Giannis are the only ones that are kind of at an age where it's like, hey, they're going to be here for another decade. Why can't Siakam be that other guy? Embiid, yeah. But like out of the top 5, only those 2 are like not on that side of 30. So it's really cool to see these other guys kind of come into fruition. So definitely.
That is a good point, man. The stars from like when I was growing up are pretty much still the stars right now. You know? Chris Paul, Russell Westbrook, the Kevin Durant, LeBron, like so much staying power. So it's nice to think forward to the next wave.
Next wave's coming through. Yeah.
Andre, who you got?
All right. So my team was the Orlando Magic, and they made some headways in the playoffs this year. Everyone saw Vucevic, pretty much an all-star. But the guy that I'm talking about right now is Jonathan Isaac. Now, he's been making some waves in the news recently with teams inquiring about him. Magic saying, we're sticking with this guy. But this dude is, like, legit. He's got it all right now, man. He's a point forward for them, small forward, pass, shoot, score. He can do it all right now. So I'm expecting big things out of him. But not just him. It's also my boy Markelle Fultz coming back too.
He was looking crispy.
Yeah, he was looking crispy. Y'all see him doing. Y'all saw the free
Behind
throws,
the back into a dunk. Did you
No,
see
I'm
that?
not even worried about the free throws. I'm
Hey,
talking
man.
about that reverse layup.
Oh yeah,
splitting those two defenders.
we already know. He can
Splitting
get to the
those two
rim.
guys on the fast break and dunking it on that fast break. But the thing that gets me is he's so herky jerky.
He looks like he looks like his head's too heavy.
It reminds me
It's
a
like
little
his
bit
head's
of.
too
It
heavy.
reminds me a little bit of Derrick Rose
Yeah.
in that regard when you're talking about that herky jerky
But like,
stuff.
it's like so pronounced. Like he's like 2 feet this way and then 3 feet this way.
Yeah,
How do you stay in front of him? I guess.
felt like he moved like a puppy.
I feel like his
Always
hair
thought, yeah.
kind of makes it seem
Yeah.
like that too.
I don't know. It's like he's so fast and looks out of control, even if he's in control. So it gets everybody on their heels.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It feels
but
like.
yeah, I like what they have with him. If he can, continue to improve on his shot, like his playmaking's there, his athleticism there, he's good defensively. If he can continue to make shots and cut down his turnovers, I think Orlando has a chance to, really be strong this season. You got Aaron Gordon. He's like a baby Blake Griffin. He can do some playmaking. He's been shooting pretty well too. Last game he put up 7 threes, made 3 of them. So that's pretty good. And then Vucevic, as we all know, he's pretty much an all-star. So I like Orlando moving forward, and they still got Mo Bamba too. So if he continues developing, I like him.
Cool. My first team on my list is going to be the Cavaliers. So not too much to get excited about in Cleveland, but one name that stays consistently efficient is going to be Kevin Love. His usage was at a 4-year low, so they weren't getting him a whole lot of shots, which is understandable. You're not gonna go out there and run him up a ton of minutes, considering you're probably not gonna win a whole lot of games. But I do look for his usage to increase to at least 30% because he's been kind of in the 22%, so he takes about 1 out of every 5 shots. So just getting the ball more in his hand, I think he's going to demand it more because he's going to want to raise his stock for potential trade.
Right.
And they're going to want to do the same. They want to get as much as they can possible from him. They talk about Portland, but potential landing zone for him so they can get something from them.
Great.
And so I do look for them to improve just based on that because he'll will them into a few extra wins. Ultimately, I think they'll get an extra six wins and end up with 25 wins total. So
Yeah, I like Kevin Love, man. I hope good things happen to him, man. He's kind of been like out of the mix the past year and a half, but I want to see him do well somewhere else.
Definitely don't want him to be like unhappy and having to like retire there or anything. Not that players should just go exactly where they want to go all the time, but he seems like he's not a malcontent, doing his time, trying to shape the young guys, stay in shape, and evolve his game. So yeah, I'd like to see him somewhere where the games matter a little bit more.
Yeah, it's been a roller coaster career for him. So
do we want to snake it back or you want to rotate?
We'll just go around one more
Go
time.
ahead.
So I had the Washington Wizards staying in the East, and these previews are going to be all over the place. So it's not going to be strictly West. But Washington Wizards, the guy that I'm looking at is not John Wall. Literally can't look at him. He's going to be gone all year. Bradley Beal is in final year of his contract. We don't know if he's going to be traded or not, but that's not who I'm looking at. I'm actually looking at Thomas Bryant. He's 22 years old, got drafted by the Jazz, traded to the Lakers, and then he actually got waived by the Lakers and got picked up by the Wizards and signed this offseason. So he got 3 years, $8 million per year, and that doesn't seem like a show-stopping number, something to write home to mom about. But he plays center. He's got a lot of energy, really strong. He's undersized. Like he's closer to being as tall as Draymond Green is than he is to being as tall as Karl Anthony Towns.
he was like 6'5".
He's like 6, like 8, something like that. But he plays center. So he's got some creativity on offense, has a good stroke, good shot, but his size keeps him from being kind of much of a stopper on the defensive end, even though he has good feet. But I think they're going to really try to develop him this year and make it seem as though, or make him live up to that contract because they're signing a waived player to an $8 million per year for 3 years. So that's a pretty big thing.
Pretty hefty.
So a lot of guys are going to be looking at Rui Hachimura, and I am too. He's an exciting young guy.
Explosive.
But I think they're going to be developing this guy just as much. So keep your eye out for Thomas Bryant.
Yeah, that's another team I hope good things happen for the Wizards. It's been rough. They've had a rough go of it the past couple of years.
Ever since the
John Wall.
the Gilbert Arenas guns in the locker room thing.
Oh yeah.
So it's been a long time.
Yeah. But yeah, so I guess I'm next. My next team is the Utah Jazz, and the man I want to give a shout out to is one of the most underrated point guards in the league, the veteran Mike Conley. This dude is an excellent playmaker. Improved his 3-point shot over the past couple of years. Can shoot at the mid-range, get to the rim, and pretty well on defense as well. So I think what he brings to the offense will help Donovan Mitchell when he gets the ball. He has another creator, can stretch the floor, give Mitchell a little bit more space when he needs to get to the rim. And actually, it'll help Ingles as well just because he'll have to do less work creating for himself. Conley can just, get him the ball where he needs to be, and all he has to do is focus on shooting and defense. So I think the addition of Conley is going to be pretty big because Rubio was a good playmaker in the past, good defender, but the lack of a shot just made it so hard for Utah that they could just clog the paint. Mitchell couldn't really do anything. So as long as Mitchell improves his shooting, his decision-making, his playmaking, and the addition of Conley, I think they'll do really well in the West this next season.
Do you think with Conley there, even though Ricky Rubio was a fine point guard, great passer, do you think it'll have a positive impact on Rudy Gobert even more so on the offensive end?
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
definitely.
yes, I was going to say that just now. I was going to say I would love to see because maybe we don't think about because he's so big and he's just he's the box out type. I'm going to grab this rebound. We don't think of him as super bouncy, but I would love to see some kind of Lob
just
City
some
action,
pick and roll.
Maybe, you know what I mean? I think he's very capable of doing that.
Yeah.
So I mean they're my dark horse. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see what the Conley for Rubio trade off is. Yeah. My next team is going to be the Pistons, and the Pistons I feel like they slightly overachieved. I don't think anybody expected them to do.
They grabbed a new point guard, right?
Yeah, that's actually the player I'm talking about. But the Pistons, they made it into the playoffs. Of course, Blake Griffin was hurt, so we didn't really get to see them in full strength in the playoffs. But I think with the addition of Derrick Rose, you're going to see some improvements. So the Pistons are really efficient, one of the most efficient teams in using the post up. They shoot for over 50%, and obviously, you got Drummond and you've got Blake Griffin, right? Blake Griffin's kind of expanded his game, so you see a little bit more ISO from him. Not a ton. They're still not one of the highest ISO teams by any means. But of course, when he puts his back to the basket, he is as efficient as ever. He can still dunk if he needs to. Drummond gets a lot of putbacks, not a crazy amount of putbacks, but he gets doubles off of putbacks all day. One thing that they're kind of middle of the pack in, though, is the pick and roll. They only shoot it at about a 42%. Derrick Rose is at 50%, almost near 50% efficiency off the pick and roll. So when you got two big men like that, especially when you got to respect Blake Griffin on the pick and pop, you got to really be careful. I think you're going to see their efficiency go up. I can see them increasing their points per game by as much as 5, just by that alone, because Derrick Rose is that threat. He can roll, shoot right from the mid range. He's one of the better mid range shooters. But he can also drive, and then you got to respect Blake Griffin. Blake Griffin's still the best player on the team. Right. We saw what he did last season.
Yeah, and Drummond is trying to take more 3-point shots this season. He shot 40 last year, which to me sounds like a lot. But, I mean, he's probably going to try to shoot.
Less than one a game. But
50, but he sounds like a lot. He's probably going to try to shoot 50 or 60 this year. But even though he's trying to shoot more, I think he's going to roll to the basket. And, your previous options were Reggie Jackson. Before that, Ish Smith. Reggie Jackson, serviceable point guard. Yeah, in and out of the lineup with different injuries. So if you're not going to have that consistent guy that can navigate the pick and roll, if you're relying on Luke Kennard to do something like that for you, if like you're saying, Derrick Rose can come back and keep up this level of play that he showed in Minnesota without his same old coach, then definitely I can see that improving outside of just the post game having the pick and roll.
Yeah.
So good one, JB. So we're going to go west this time. Have we done all? Oh, we did somewhat. We did west before that.
I haven't done any west.
Yeah, okay.
Cross country.
The Jazz.
Going back and forth.
Yeah, the Jazz, and then we got the Spurs. So mine is the Spurs. And so the topic of, I guess, my off season was, how crazy good.
Dejounte Murray?
Good.
Yeah. No. Oh, Dejounte Murray, that's an easy one. His defense looks great. But I'm
talking about the offense.
Derek,
what? I'm trying to see.
DeJounte Murray. So actually, I was gonna say Patty Mills, but I'll talk about DeJounte Murray since Andre seems to be real hyped up about him.
Yeah, that's my dude.
Who else is hyped up about them is actually the Spurs. So before DeJounte Murray actually got injured last year, unfortunately, the Spurs during training camp were pretty excited to announce that he was going to be starting after Tony Parker, wasn't on the team anymore, got traded to the Hornets, all that stuff, or signed to the Hornets. And it's not very often that you hear the Spurs let loose to the media about who they're hyped up about a player. Everything's usually kept in house. You know what I
ropes,
mean?
yeah.
So when the Spurs were letting that show, I was really excited to see what he could do. Him and Lonnie Walker. You know, they draft well. We know the Spurs do. So I'm excited to see what he can do on the defensive end, as well as running the pick and roll, finding guys, and finishing at the rim. So we're looking really athletic. Combine that with, you know, Patty Mills, who hopefully his superhero Australian powers can
carry over to
the regular season. Like Popovich said, he's like, all you guys just get superpowers when you play for your own country. So
I think playing against Pop.
I think that backcourt is going to go a long way. I hope to see them, I guess, kind of lean a little bit away towards, away from like the LaMarcus Aldridge, DeMar DeRozan, you know, long two love fest. And those guys are great, serviceable players playing for their next contract on a good team. But I think they got to really lean towards the future with DeJounte Murray. So good one, Andre. Thanks for helping me pivot
I love
to
the
that
young
one.
boys. And then Jacopoto too. He's doing well.
Yeah, he's in the
man.
last year.
They're starting center now.
I wonder if they'll re-sign him. He's in his last year of his contract this year.
I'm sure they will. He's the kind of player they like. But yeah, my next team, I'm going with the Indiana Pacers. We going back to the Eastern Conference, guys. And let me tell you, there's two men over there, highest positions. We got the King of Wakanda, my name Victor Oladipo, the Black Panther, and then we got the president, Malcolm Brogdon.
I just hope Oladipo can come back in time to, you know, get back into shape.
He's coming back in.
They won a lot of games
in
without
November, yeah. But I think picking up Brogdon will be well for them, especially if Oladipo
It's a
comes
step
back
up
healthy.
from Bojan.
Say what?
It's a step up from Bojan,
Oh yeah, definitely. But yeah,
particularly on defense.
if Oladipo comes back healthy, you get Brogdon, who he can play make. He's you know a hybrid guard, plays the 1 and 2. He can play make, plays good defense. Bucks fans will tell you, I think he's a good 3-point shooter. Bucks fans says he only shoots open threes, but I think it takes some smartness and some constraint to shoot within your limits. So I think that's a mark of a smart player. And having a player with that kind of tool set with a ball dominant guard like Oladipo, I think works very well for them because they play well together. So you got two defensive playmaking guards. You got Miles Turner.
Yeah,
do work
underrated.
well.
I feel like
DeMontis Sabonis, excellent shooter, good big man. I think they're going to do pretty well. Top 3 or 3 to 5 region. I have them in the East.
I got a bet that they will
3 to 5.
I have a bet that they will upset the Celtics if they meet in the playoffs. So.
Oh yeah, I'll take that bet too.
Yeah.
I like Pacers over Celtics.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm excited to watch them going forward. I want to see what Brogdon does. As a second option.
I'm always interested when 3-and-D guys go to a new team, right? Because when he was in Milwaukee, he wasn't the first, or even the second.
Yeah,
option.
he was like the fourth option.
So I'm always interested when those 3-and-D guys go to another team. I think about somebody like Wesley Matthews, right? When Dallas got him from Portland,
right.
A lot of teams were high on him. That offseason, that was the offseason of all the major contracts. So
he was going to get DeAndre.
He was going to get paid regardless, right? But a lot of teams were high on him. The Mavericks were high on him. I was pretty high on him at the time because it was like, dude, this guy's a sharpshooter and he can play defense.
Right.
But then they go to another team where they're not the first, where they're like the first or second option because he technically was. I mean, you had an aging Dirk, and you had what? Harrison Barnes.
No, that was before.
That was even before Harrison Barnes.
This
when
is
first
when
got
we
Wesley
signed,
Matthews.
West.
Oh,
so when you think about that, like suddenly
that was the season we got both of them.
Your rating drops. Yeah,
Sorry,
okay. But like his 3-point percentage dropped. His defense didn't really fall off. But like you start thinking, man, I gotta pay a lot for this guy. Yeah. So I hope Malcolm Brogdon that doesn't happen with him. And then he just turns into another role player down the road. Hopefully he next to Oladipo he can really expand. I mean, look at Oladipo. When Oladipo went to OKC and then to the Pacers, it wasn't until he got to the Pacers where you were like, holy shit. Nobody was talking about Oladipo like this 3 years ago.
It just depends on the fit. He didn't know what to do next to Russell Westbrook, dominating the ball for 80% of the game. And then the 20% of the game when he's out there with the bench guys. And it's like, all right, here, it's your turn.
Man, he also got to Wakanda afterwards and got into like super shape. So he did some real training after.
They got Wakanda. That's where Wakanda is.
He got that vibranium.
It's hidden in the part of the world that nobody knew about in Indiana.
Yep.
Indiana.
Only Larry Bird knows. He'll tell you where.
Yeah.
But I like the Pacers. So you got JV.
So my first team in the West is going to be the Phoenix Suns, and
you're looking at some bleak outlooks on your teams.
man. I think there's a little sparkle
some
everywhere.
Hope there, yeah.
No. No,
Sorry,
it ain't the season. They'll get a little better. They're not winning 30 games, I'll tell you that much. But their addition of Ricky Rubio, I think, is a good move forward. Yeah, he'll alleviate some of the responsibilities for Devin Booker. So Devin Booker, Despite, I mean, he's one of the better scorers. Well, as far as like volume, efficiency, actually not that. His true shooting is over 50%. So it's actually his true shooting is actually really good. But when it comes to like running your offense through somebody, when he's your number one scorer, he can't also be your overwhelming facilitator, unless you're LeBron, because then you're just that good. But he's 24% of the assists on that team, right? And realistically, when you look at their total assist to turnover ratio in as a league, they're like in that bottom 5.
Yeah.
So what happens there is you're telling me, okay, even if he protects the ball, he's also the facilitator. He's also the primary shooter. You're not going to be able to win like that. It's just too difficult.
Yeah,
too much.
And like to your point, Devin Booker shot, I believe, about 33%. I could be wrong by a percentage point either way from 3 last season, which isn't great. It's like a little bit below league average. And guys are still flying out to him at the 3-point line. They give him a lot of respect, which is great. That's really the important thing. If you think about a guy named Rajon Rondo and you say, hey, he's 4 for 10 on threes these past 2 games or this weekend or whatever, that's great. But people aren't flying out to cover Rajon Rondo.
Yeah.
He still has a reputation that he's going to miss no matter what he's making that time. It's kind of the inverse for Devin Booker. And I wonder if his percentage will go up if he gets to shoot more catch and shoot threes.
So that's exactly what the point I was going to make with this. I would look for him to move to the 2 guard, Ricky Rubio being the the primary ball handler, because if you look at their assist percentage, it's the same. Like, it's virtually the same. But he's a better shooter than Ricky Rubio, so it makes sense for him. It makes sense for him to be a wing. I think he can be a Klay Thompson type player that's running around.
Yeah, I think
you got to chase him down.
He's not gonna play defense, but
yeah, but you got to chase him down on offense, and then give
him the ball and let him do it.
Yeah, swing the ball around. I hope they give DeAndre Ayton a few more minutes just because his inside presence will kind of pull the defense in.
Touch.
But yeah, definitely. I think the addition of Ricky Rubio, the fact that he can assist on the same level as Devin Booker, and now Devin Booker doesn't have to do everything.
Yeah.
Will increase his 3-point percentage, which isn't
All
bad.
his efficiency,
but it could elevate him to that next level. I still don't think they have enough to win more than 25 games. I still think they'll be the worst team in the West. But I think this is the first step into Devin Booker really solidifying himself as a wing shooter. And then now you just draft the point guard because you're probably going to be in the lotto again. Yeah. So maybe you get LaMelo. Then you put LaMelo next to him. And LaMelo, I mean, I haven't watched a whole lot of LaMelo.
The same player.
I haven't watched a whole lot of LaMelo, but I mean, I'm sure as the time gets closer, I'll get a chance to watch a little bit more of him. And if he's a facilitator, then if he can be like Lonzo, that could work.
Hey, Lonzo and Rubio were like my number 1 picks to go to the Suns.
All right, Suns. Instead of making your team even better, we're not confident you can do that. So just be worse, so you can get another.
It's not that. It's just
no. I'm not saying that.
Oh yeah.
I'm saying that's what the Suns. That's the outlook for them. That's more likely than the.
It's rough in the West. For sure. It's even rougher in Phoenix.
Oh, so. It's rough. It's rough when you have a management like Robert Sarver. But anyway.
All right, Rich.
You're gonna pass it to me.
Who's your 4th team?
This is gonna be quick. Charlotte Hornets. I could talk about Terry Rozier, but I'm not. That's not the most impact player.
I want to talk about Terry.
You can.
I do not.
That's not the impact
Nicholas
player that I'm
Batum
talking
making
about.
a comeback.
The impact player that I'm talking about is Bismack Biyombo.
Oh,
not because of his.
That was my second one.
Really?
Yeah, because that contract coming up,
Yes,
right? You get him out of here.
Not because of the play on the court. This is the last season of a lot of guys that signed in the sour 2016 era. Signed to 4 years. $17 million a year.
It was good while it lasted.
That's a good trade piece. That's a nice big salary there for people.
Off topic. I'm sorry. I don't mean to interrupt, but Chandler Parsons, was he part of that?
He's on the Hawks. Yes.
No, he was not 2016.
2016 money? Are you sure?
No, he was before that.
Okay. So.
Sorry. I
2016 was when we got Wesley Matthews. Chandler Parsons was before that.
Okay, got you. Didn't he go to the Memphis Grizzlies?
Grizzlies.
Yeah.
He re-signed with them.
Yeah,
that's true. I guess so. He kind of technically is.
But yeah, I was just saying he
just wasn't like a supermax or anything.
Fucking Memphis, man. They got rid of him. So.
They're in good shape.
Yeah, they're good.
Is that all we had for the damn Hornets? 4 guys.
I mean, they got rid of Jeremy Lamb. They got rid of Kimba.
They're going to develop Miles Bridges, but I mean, the most important thing is that they should take on some bad salary for their upcoming bad years. They might.
You said years, plural.
They might come up in the playoffs as their 8th seed or whatever, but that shouldn't be the way that they want to go. They need to reload the war chest with some picks and take on some bad salary to get some picks from guys that from teams that are looking to add, relief for the coming years.
Yeah. So bummer for Charlotte, man. Y'all got a tight court too. Sucks.
Oh, I know, it's such a waste. And the good jerseys, the great logo, so good.
Come on, Michael, man, you gotta do better than that.
All right, Andre, number 4.
All right, number 4. I got the Philadelphia 76ers.
Mm.
We already know they got the process. You know, one of the best centers in the league. He lost 25 pounds, so I'm
By doing nothing.
yeah, apparently, and eating spicy food and crying. But
Who's gonna fill that void left by Jimmy?
left by Jimmy.
I mean,
I
you
think
can't
they're
really
gonna be
you
good.
can't really fill his shoes.
Well,
but
is that what
what's
you were
gonna
you were
happen?
about talking about Joel Embiid?
Well, I was going to talk about Joel. I mean, like everyone, the quote about him losing 25 pounds, yeah, that's good. So hopefully he'll be healthy, he'll be light, he'll stay in shape throughout the rest of the season. That'll be a big boost for them. I think the biggest addition for them is adding Al Horford, because the Sixers were, when Embiid was on the court, they usually dominant. They were usually always winning, like significantly. It's when he wasn't on the court, when they lost that defensive anchor, that guy who could, keep people out the paint and keep the offense from, or the opponent from running up the score. And with Al Horford, they can kind of stagger them. So there's going to be points in the game, especially at the end. You're going to want to play them together. You're going to start them together. But then later on, you can kind of stagger them, and you always have a good defensive 5-player there who can kind of, keep it going. Offensively, I don't think they're going to struggle much. They still got Ben Simmons who can still get it done in the regular season. And assuming he added more to his shot, he'll be a threat, hopefully, in the playoffs.
I don't know, man. They lost some offense, so I'm curious to see what that's gonna look like.
Tobias Harris is
Yeah, that's
pretty
fine,
good
but you still
offensively
lose
as well.
Jimmy Butler, and we're
Yeah.
making a huge assumption about Ben Simmons. But I mean, we'll see.
I'm a little bit
no,
on. I'm not even on JV's side.
Yeah.
I'm on the side of the players, because
Yeah.
if you ask some of those guys, if you ask, I think
You're asking beat.
Ben Simmons and Embiid, you ask some of those guys, what do y'all think y'all are going to be on defense? We're going to be all-time number 1 in the league. What do you think you're going to be on offense? They go, we're going to figure it out. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So that's paraphrasing what they say, but
Yeah.
they're more confident on the defensive end than they are. They have some kinks to work through.
And they pick up Josh Richardson, too, from Miami, so he's not a slouch offensively. He'll be able to, pick up some of that slack from Jimmy. Obviously, I still think Jimmy's like a top-tier ISO player. He's not like at the very, very top, but he's still an elite player offensively. But, I mean, combining that slack, Al Horford, efficient scorer, can do it all-around player. Tobias Harris definitely going to get more touches now that there's less star power to deal with. I think offensively they should be all right. Defensively, no question, they'll be one of the best teams. So, yeah, I like the Sixers going forward.
Moving on to another grim outlook. The Chicago Bulls.
Oh, man.
One name that I'm looking out for over there, just because this is a name that when he came into the league, people were excited about, and I think he still has a lot of potential to make it happen, and that's going to be Lauri Markkanen. He was out for 2 months last season with an elbow injury, so we didn't get to see too many of him. I think he played less than 40 games, if I'm not mistaken. But one thing that I can see him helping improve with the Bulls is their offensive rebounding. So they're dead last in offensive rebound last year, 24.2 offensive rebounds a game. So that's bottom of the barrel. And then dead last in second chance points. That's going to happen if you can't rebound. So they only get 11 second chance points in an entire game. So it just kind of gives you an idea of where their offensive opportunities are. One thing that I noticed is that they tend, if you look at their roster, they tend to play Wendell at the 5 and they play Markkanen at the 4. I would like to see that switch. It's simple. He's taller, right? But I think a lot of people look at him and they say, "Oh, he's taller. He's a little lankier." But we've seen what Kristaps can do. We've seen what some of these other lankier dudes nowadays can do. If he can shoot on offense and he can be that threat at the 5, I think you get more bang for your buck that way.
Yeah.
And he could turn into a shot blocker. I mean, he is 6'11", 230 pounds.
That's all you need.
Yeah, he's 6'11", 230 pounds. Wendell's a little bit shorter, heavier, so he's a little bit more built. So I get that, he can bang a little bit more on the inside. But Lauri Markkanen hasn't really had an opportunity to do that. I would just like to see them switch that because you're going to lose anyway. So you might as well.
Let the other guy get it.
Some people are up on this.
Sorry.
How you know you're going to lose?
But
right.
but I think just puts on a little bit of weight. Doesn't have to gain a ton of weight. He's only 20 pounds lighter than Wendell. Wendell only grabs 1.9 offensive rebounds a game, 1.4. It's not a big difference. I think if he was at the 5, he'd grab a few more, and he can help them on the offensive board.
No.
Maybe he can, he has a softer touch at the rim than Wendell does. Wendell's a little bit more like, I'm going to try to shoot it over you.
Right.
So I would like to see that from him. So just that little swap. See what happens. Mix it up a little bit.
Chicago. Did they move Jabari?
No.
Oh. Yeah.
I thought
they-
Jabari was in Atlanta now.
No, isn't he? Did they
He's in
move?
Atlanta now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And to your point about the offensive rebounds, I think a little bit of that is
Oh yeah,
based.
Hawks. Sorry.
Yeah, I think a little bit of that is kind of the coaching scheme. Jim Boylan's a big, hard-nosed, like defensive guy, and so he's like, "Hey, get back on defense, and the focus isn't on getting those offensive rebounds. And some people think that Jim Boylan's not the coach of the future. Maybe I don't think that either. That's too early to say. Some people are higher on the Bulls this year. I think definitely he's gonna make a step forward. We all know that Larry Marketing can definitely shoot. He's pretty creative, more athletic than you think. So that kind of lends towards
Yeah, so he can
thinking-
shoot, and that's what a lot of people hone in on. But when I was talking about his soft touch, if you look at him, he can
Around
put
the
a
rim.
spin move on you and like
Around
lay it
the
off
rim.
the
The rim,
glass.
yeah,
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 so
yeah.
like that's why I want to see him at the 5 because I feel like you get more bang for your buck there.
Yeah.
especially with everybody going small, kind of
Yeah.
cross-dressing styles now. Yeah, exactly.
I think Wendell's just slotted at the center because he played more games. Like he had to
have
play the
him
5.
there. Yeah, right. And there's the injury risk, obviously, especially with a lighter guy at the 5. But yeah, it's
So,
Last team you got for this week, Rich?
Yeah, so this is the final round, right?
Yep.
I'm the first one of the final round. So we're shooting from the hip. Mine's pretty easy. Minnesota Timberwolves,
Damn.
but it's
Atlanta
not
Hawks.
it's not the guys that you might think. I'm not talking about Andrew Wiggins. I'm not talking about the albatross of a contract. That's Andrew Wiggins. Karl Anthony Towns has a equally big contract, but he's actually good, so nobody's nobody's down on that. Which I think is pretty crazy in itself. They gave Andrew Wiggins this giant maximum contract with the stipulation, you better live up to this. We expect you to live up to
Wouldn't
this
that be great if
contract.
you could just ask somebody to live up to the
please,
contract?
I'll be a genius and the best ever.
We need
Thanks.
we need A+ effort from you if we give you this contract. So here's the contract.
It's like, all right.
Anyway, so that's not the point. So Jarrett Culver and Josh Okogie. Josh Okogie played a year already as shooting guard for the Timberwolves. His counting stats aren't going to blow you away, but they really liked how aggressive he was on the offensive end, kind of gunning it, not afraid to shoot, not afraid of the moment. He's coming into the second year. And then Jarrett Culver was actually drafted 6th by the Suns. So high lottery. That's like just outside the top 5. And then traded for Dario Saric. I like Dario Saric a lot. I liked him ever since he was in Philadelphia. Andre can attest to this. And if you're going to give up a guy that's energy like that, not afraid to defend, has length, they must see a lot in Culver that they can develop. And overall, I think it's more of a philosophy thing. With you not getting as much as you would like to from Andrew Wiggins and having all that money tied up in those two guys, it's not going to be easy for you to trade your way into more success and getting Karl Anthony Towns a second star. You're going to have to do it through the draft and through development. And so they're kind of banking on Ryan Saunders being able to get these guys into shape, into form to become rotation level or starting level NBA players. And you got to do it through the draft and through the assets. So I'm going to be watching those guys closely to see if the Wolves can try to get into that conversation with the guys that are on the cusp of the playoff run for the 8th seed, your Pelicans, your Mavericks, guys like that. It's going to kind of hinge on them as good as Karl Anthony Towns is.
So you're still thinking long-term build around Karl Anthony Towns. So right now, go ahead and start getting ready for the next set of assets.
Exactly, because it's not going to come through like the trade or through free agency.
It's not.
So that's what I'm looking at
That's
right
good.
there.
Good way to look at it.
Who's your last team, Andre?
My last team, Los Angeles Lakers.
The
All right,
Lakers.
so everyone, you know about
He is
LeBron.
Hollywood Andre West.
He is Hollywood Andre West.
You know about LeBron. You know about AD, Danny Green, all those guys, JaVale McGee. That's fine. But the real threat, and I know the Lakers fans will attest to this, the real dude is Alex Caruso. This dude, man.
Air fryer is what they call him. Air fryer.
Straight out of Texas A&M, man.
Yeah, like
Point guard.
fryer, like a guy, like a pastor. Or
25
whatever.
Oh, a
Yeah.
fryer.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
like Fryer.
Bald
He's
back
got
there.
the Fryer.
Oh, okay,
patch,
that makes
Yeah.
sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. So my man, dude, deceptively athletic, pretty quick, can finish at the rim, can shoot, and an excellent playmaker. I honestly, dude, I can see this guy ending up being the starting point guard for them by the
People
time they.
always say that about white players. How come you got to say?
But this dude, like,
deceptively
for real,
before
dude.
Anybody that?
Have you seen him? Jam it?
Yeah.
That nigga's
That
up.
one famous putback from the end of the year last year.
Yes.
LeBron's out, good jumping out his seat. Yeah, I'm excited for him.
I like him, man.
I hope he ends up getting more minutes than Rondo does.
Yeah, I think he will.
Rondo's actually not starting if we're going to take anything into consideration from the preseason.
Yeah, I think LeBron. They have LeBron actually listed at point guard, so it's.
Which isn't like crazy.
Yeah,
People are going to try to tell you that that's crazy, but the only
It's
difference
not.
between that and his years in Cleveland was that Matthew Dellavedova inbounded the ball under the basket, dribbled to half court. When he got to half court, He gave it to LeBron, and then LeBron ran point guard.
Yeah.
It's the same thing. Just
Yeah.
LeBron catches it this time under,
Right.
under the basket.
Yeah.
So there's still gonna be plenty of other.
Few extra
I think
dribbles
if,
again.
if he can consistently, shoot well from three, he'll be a starter for them. But what were you saying, JV? I'm sorry.
Oh no, I was just saying he just dribbles the ball more this time.
Oh yeah.
All right, so we got our final team of this
Yeah, I'm gonna
preview.
close it out with a team that some people are high on, some people aren't so high on. My first of this list that has a chance at a title, and it's gonna be the Houston Rockets. So that's my only team in the. Oh no, I got the Suns. So the obvious
That's a team.
addition. I'm gonna talk about two players because we have the obvious addition of Russell Westbrook that's gonna have an immediate impact. So, the Houston Rockets run ISO 24% of the time, which the next highest team is only 8%. So that kind of gives you an idea of what kind of offense they're running. It's Mike D'Antoni,
It
right?
works, man.
It's nothing. It's
Stuff
nothing.
works.
It's nothing. It's no secret about it. They love to run ISO. They love to lean on James Harden. The turnover ratio, but with Russell Westbrook, I think what he can bring to the table is his turnover ratio. He gets a lot of shit because people think he doesn't take care of the ball, but he has one of the best turnover percentages, believe it or not, one of the best assists to turnover ratios, which you might say is inflated by the fact that he gets a lot of assists. But even his ratio percentages, it's like the same as Chris Paul. So you're not like, it's not a negative there. Like you're not going to suddenly start turning the ball over more. But the assist ratio is important because the Rockets are third to last in assist ratio, and that has to do with the fact that they run so much damn ISO, so you're not going to get a whole lot of assists. So I think if we look at who the best teams are when it comes to assists, is going to be the Warriors. So I'm not saying they're going to be the Warriors, but obviously there's a winning formula there. Obviously you'd be changing your entire offense. Mike D'Antoni's probably not going to go for it, but I would love to see them run a lot of Russell Westbrook on ball. Even though a lot of people think, James Harden should run on ball. I think Russell Westbrook should run on ball. We should run the traditional plays like the pick and roll, the pick and pop, things like that. You do have Capella. We talked last week about how if you slash to the rim, Capella's going to be there open for the low pass from Russell Westbrook. So I think they get a lot of efficiency there. And like I said, he's pretty efficient with the pick and roll. It's only when he does the pick and roll and doesn't drive to the rim, when he shoots from mid-range, that he sucks at. So if he can stop doing that, they'll be a lot better. Yeah. So that's for Russell Westbrook. The other name that's going to make an impact is going to be Eric Gordon. So from 2 seasons ago to last season, his usage actually went down, so he's taking a lot less shots. And it actually caused a big drop in his true shooting, 15%. That and on his actual field goal percentage.
Yeah, so he started last season as opposed to being a 6-man.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
So
that's actually the point I was going to make. So at the same time, his defensive rating went up 21%, so his defense got worse. Yeah. So that could have a lot to do with the fact that now he's guarding starters. He's demanded to basically guard sometimes the second best player. It just depends on who you put James Harden on. So I think just getting him more involved in the offense by swinging the ball around a lot more, it's going to be easier because you have Russell Westbrook. Granted, you have Chris Paul, which is also a threat, but I think when you're a threat at every facet of the game,
right?
Like, yeah, Russell Westbrook's not an amazing shooter, but you can't open up the paint because he's gonna drive it and he's gonna fucking slam it on you.
You can't.
You gotta watch the dish to Capella because he is a smart passer, even though he has a bad rap for the turnovers. You gotta guard James Harden. So what does Eric Gordon get to do? I get to sit in the corner and wait until these guys are all scrambling, and then
I'm
gonna drill it.
Yeah. He can drill it and attack closeouts.
Yeah, and so I was kind of thinking like maybe they can try the 6-man thing again, but nobody on that bench can guard better than him. So like you get no benefit. Like it'd be a big difference if you had like a Patrick Beverly type of player where it's like, you don't need a whole lot of offense because he's gonna lock down their best guy. So let's put him, and then we'll bring the scoring from Eric Gordon off the bench. But they don't have that. Yeah. Jeff Green is not enough. The only guy that defends better than him is PJ Tucker, but he's gonna start. And so there's really nobody else that can fill that. I mean, Austin Rivers is a worse defender than him across the board, and he doesn't.
But he does try.
Yeah, he tries.
Not a negative.
But overall, like you're not gonna put Austin Rivers for Gordon. So there was really nobody to fill that role. So he's still gonna start this coming season. I just think he's gonna really benefit from taking more 3-pointers. He took 3 less 3-pointers per game this season than 2 seasons ago, and that was coming off the bench. So like, get the ball in the man's hand, and it's gonna happen. But even if he doesn't take as many shots, he'll shoot it more efficiently just because he's going to have way more open threes.
Yeah, there's so much more talent on the court now. So many more threats.
I'm excited about the Rockets, man. I was so low on them when that trade first happened. Not low, but I was just like, it's not going to work. Like, Russell Westbrook's way too different than James Harden. But now I'm like, dude, I'm so excited to see them
Rockets
play.
played Raptors today. I don't think you didn't catch the game, did you?
No.
Richard, did you catch any parts?
They were looking nice. Everybody was fucking looking like mid-season form. James Harden was drilling everything. He was nutmegging dudes.
That dude was.
Eric Gordon was shooting with reckless abandon. Ryan Anderson was making shots. Everybody was looking good. Even Russell Westbrook drilled a deep three. I had to
He
look at it
did.
twice.
He made 1 of his 7.
Yeah,
As long as he doesn't get in his own head when he makes those.
as long as he shoots them like that. I mean, and like
Yeah, shoot him.
nobody's second guessing him in
rhythm.
Oklahoma City, but they're gonna second guess him even less out there in Houston Rockets.
Wish there was a stat where you can see
I
how
don't
many.
know. I'm a little.
There might be a stat out there that shows you how many of those shots, those long range shots, he shoots in rhythm. Because when he misses them, he's not in rhythm, dude. He's like not even set. He comes off of the screen and is shooting them
He just
like
throws them up.
yeah, he's shooting them and he's leaning into them. And I'm like, there's a difference between leaning into the shot and then shooting in motion. That's when you come off the dribble and like turn around and bust it. But he's not doing that. He's just like kind of like chucking it, and he's leaning forward. I hate when he leans forward. That's like the worst way you can shoot a long range shot and just clanks off the back. But super excited for the Rockets.
Yeah.
They're going to be my Trailblazers of this year.
They're going to be
Keep a close
exciting
eye
to
on them.
watch because it's 2 stark differences in play. Like so, they're staggering Westbrook and Harden. When Harden has the ball, it's Rockets as usual. When Westbrook has the ball, they're just charging up the court. It's like it's crazy to see the difference.
I kind of want them. I think it would be
It's like 2 separate teams.
even more exciting if they went the opposite way of what JV was saying. If Russell Westbrook would actually cut to the rim and flash for offensive rebounds and stuff like that, and use his athleticism when he's not holding the ball. Like imagine how fast he could be without the ball. Just
Yeah.
try it. So I'm excited either way, no matter what.
Yeah.
You got some exciting ball in Houston. Sorry,
Which is
China.
some- which-
Y'all don't get to see it.
Which is something that
But follow the shot callers.
if it is it is crazy if it is like where the Rockets are must-see TV after everyone's saying for years, oh, I hate watching the Rockets, same thing every time.
Yeah.
But if they're exciting, man, I'm pumped.
Oh yeah.
I'm here.
Too bad they're not going to get
They're gonna
them.
have all-
They're not going to get those China eyes in this year though.
I mean, none of the
We'll see what
NBA will
happens.
if it keeps developing that way.
Yeah. So that does it for the first half of our season preview. Next week should be a lot more top heavy. As you notice, we talked a lot about teams that didn't make last year's playoffs,
Except
So-
for me.
except for Andre. He took on.
Mr.
I
Hollywood over
didn't.
here.
Hey,
Let me preview the
Just comes
champions.
natural.
So you'll see a lot more of teams that were in contention last year that potentially do have some playoff implications. So we'll make sure to deep dive on those. Let us know what you thought about these. If you disagree with any of these breakdowns, or if there's a name we left out, I'm excited for some of these guys. Lauri Markkanen's probably one that a lot of people haven't thought about.
Yeah, I kind of forgot about him.
Who's one on your list that's just like stands out?
Like
Brogdon probably.
Yeah. Oh,
Right.
Brogdon. He's starting to get recognition, but I'd
Rich.
still say,
I'm sure mine. A deep
Jonathan
cut of
Isaac,
mine is
yeah.
Thomas Bryant. I don't
Thomas
think a lot
Bryant.
of people know about him.
Yeah, so Thomas Bryant, Lauri Markkanen, Eric Brogdon. If you
Jonathan
haven't heard these names
Isaac,
before,
yeah.
look them up. Look up some highlights, man. You might be surprised as to what you see. It's not all about ESPN, but there's some guys out there with a lot of talent, a lot of promise, who may or may not deliver some titles here in the near future. So keep an eye out. Do we have any?
I just have that small tidbit.
I was gonna say,
I halfway. You can do
halfway
bits.
bit.
You can do half
One hand
spirited.
bit.
Yeah, one hand.
One-handed
Riches
tidbit.
bits. Yeah. Okay, let's do it. So I kind of preface this a little bit, so hopefully you guys have some answers ready to go. And this is inspired by something that happened in the NBA last week, so you guys can probably guess it when I ask the question. So my question for you guys is, when is the last time that you guys literally planned to wake up in the middle of the night to do something? It can be anything that you can think of.
So
I have mine if you need me to go.
what I used to do is people would always like do all nighters for tests,
Yeah.
and they would like cram all night, and then they'd wake
that was
up for the
never my
test,
thing.
and they would do it. Right, that's how a lot of people do it.
Yeah, me too.
I was like, I'm getting home from work. I'm tired. I'm going to sleep. I'm going to wake up at 3 a.m. and start because you're more awake. Like
Yeah.
I'll study for a few hours before the 8 a.m. exam and I'll be good to go. There's no point in me studying for 5 hours and then I'm tired as hell. Probably didn't learn anything for the last 3 or whatever, right? All night. And then you wake up and you only got 2 hours of sleep. So I'm like, let me get 5 hours of sleep. Let me wake up at 3 a.m., 4 a.m., whatever. Study a couple hours. It's going to be more efficient.
So I actually used
That's
to,
what I used to do.
JV and I used to be roommates, and I remembered him doing that. So I actually took a leap out of his book last Friday, or actually it was on Monday. It was Monday. I had a video project due, and I was like, man, I could stay up till 2 doing this, or I'll just wake up at 6 and do it until 8 and then turn it in before my 9 o'clock deadline. So I actually took that out of your book without you telling me. So
You're more efficient, right?
yeah, it felt good. I felt better about it.
Yeah, you're more efficient because you just woke up. You're like, I'm ready to go.
I don't know.
You're
I guess
not
I'm a
like-
little different. I'm one of those people like
You're
I studied the night before, and then I'll wake up and I'll review the stuff in the morning, and then I'm good. Yeah.
Well,
But-
a lot of people, when I was like, not as serious about it, is I would cram till like 3, sleep until right before I had to go to school and then go straight to school without reviewing anything. So your way sounds efficient too. For real, just anything's better than not doing anything.
So what's the bit behind this question, Rich?
Did you have an answer?
Yeah,
for
I
me?
got one.
Oh, wait, I thought that was an answer.
Fuck me, right? I had one this morning. Actually, I had to get up and do some work, install some software and stuff on some computers at work at like 3 a.m. So it's been a long day for me. I think I got like 2 hours of sleep after that. So yeah.
Sounds rough. I actually have my own, I guess, bit to contribute to it. And mine's way less serious than y'all's. When I first lived, I guess, in my first apartment, going to school with a couple of my friends, we went to school, and then we worked at Six Flags all day long. So, we never got to partake in normal, workday routines, people that work in 9 to 5s and go to happy hour at 5 or whatever. And we were really big fans of Steak and Shake at the time because they were the only thing open.
Yeah, Steak and Shake still hits.
It's pretty good.
People be talking, but like for $5,
it was the only thing. It was the only thing open at the time that we got off work, so we were always a big fan of going. And we noticed one day that they had a sign that said happy hour from 2 to 4 p.m. For shakes, but it also was 2 to 4 a.m. for shakes.
Hell yeah, that's when you're there.
So we would set our alarm at like 2 in the morning to wake up and go to drive the Steak and Shake and get some shakes and then go home and go to sleep.
I like their burgers.
Oh,
they weren't
man.
too big, so like you
Burgers
finish the
are
whole
good.
thing,
Oh,
you were filled.
So yeah, if you've never woken up at 2 in the morning to go eat some milkshakes, like
Steak and Shakes.
give
Think
a
about
shot.
it.
Yeah, try it. You might like it.
Yeah.
But yeah, the thing that inspired the whole question was, last week, a word got out through the Heat camp that before the 10 a.m. shoot around, Jimmy Butler showed up at the practice facility at 3:30 in the morning and practiced the entire way, all the way until practice, then practiced with the team for several few hours, setting the tone for the season. And so the next couple of practices, other Heat players like Bam Adebayo joined him at 3:30 in the morning to practice, and then practice all the way through. So they're just practicing 8 hours a day over there in Miami.
Nope.
So they go nonstop. That's
Wow.
what kind of inspired it. So yeah,
That's
if there's
crazy.
anything that you guys are that dedicated to,
All I heard was Steak and Shake.
Yeah. Steak and Shake or wake up at 3 a.m. to go work. Nah, Steak and Shake.
Steak and Shake.
but yeah, if there's anything that you guys are that dedicated to, please let us know what it is. Last time you guys had an experience like that.
Yeah, I'd be interested to see what the listeners do in there.
Yeah, when they
When wake up at 3 in the morning.
Yeah.
Post midnight happens.
Hey,
They say
what
nothing
a
good
burger,
happens
man.
after midnight, Rich.
Steak and Shake was pretty good though.
But Steak and Shake was pretty good. Awesome. If you have any tidbit you'd like to share with Rich, send it to his Twitter. That's at Rich_SRK.
Yeah.
And he will feature it on the next show. So keep the messages coming. If you have any questions for us directly, send us a message to shotcallarshow@gmail.com. Tweet us at shotcallarshow. Send us a message on Instagram, _shotcallers. Leave a comment in the section below if you're watching on YouTube. Like, comment, subscribe. You can even leave a question on the Apple Podcast review. Keep them coming. We're still at 5 stars. I put up 2 5s, but that's still 5 stars.
It's like hella stars right
So
now.
we appreciate those who have reviewed us.
Yeah, keep it up, please.
Oh.
And we'll want to do some more fan mail next week, along with the second half of the season previews. So if you have any questions, definitely shoot them our way. Does anybody else have anything else for the fam out there?
That's all I got for this week. I'm excited for next week. I'm excited for the start of the regular season.
Preseason.
Watch that preseason basketball. And if there's a clip that you guys really liked or enjoyed, just send it to us so we can enjoy it with you.
Give us your season predictions as well. Like,
Yeah,
we're
we-
doing ours.
we are
We're
gonna
gonna
have
be doing
ours
ours
week after
soon.
next.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll have our season predictions, and then once the season starts, we'll be off and rolling.
It's coming quick, man.
If anything changes, like if we want to add more episodes, we'll let you guys know ahead of time, so that way you can adjust your schedules.
We'll do some little fun stuff here too, like not just episodes, just some little more.
Yeah,
Instagram
follow us on
content,
Instagram.
YouTube-
Instagram's like the quickest way to upload a
YouTube
quick video.
content, Yeah,
We'll be obviously
we'll get some more
attending
stuff
some
going for you
games. We'll be attending some games, so we'll make sure to live chat. What is it called?
Live stream.
Live
man.
stream from there.
Yeah.
I feel old.
Live chat.
Live chat.
Okay, well, that's the end of
What?
this episode.
Yeah, that's the end of this episode, guys. Until next time, I'm JV.
I'm Rich.
And I'm Hollywood Andre.
We're the Shot Callers.
All right. Let's go.